See, that's the thing. When I said my place is roach infested, like it was really actually roach infested. But like if my dad says something, like it's always exaggeration. But then he like thinks that when I say something that it's like him, but I don't do that. So I maybe when I was like young, he still thinks of things like as if I was still like 5 or 10 years old. That's the way he thinks. Something's broken in his brain. Maybe that's the way I should think. See, that's the thing. If I think of it that way, then I think more of a kindness. But I've always been confused because he seems like has multiple personalities or something. He like or like what, but maybe that was just because he always had that anger and he was like violent to me. He's like very scary person, very violent. Like people, nobody saw that except for me behind closed doors. In society, he was like the happy, good guy everybody liked. But yeah, so when I said my place was, which I lived in for almost 10 years, the place that I lived, the apartment that I lived for almost 10 years before here, it was actually roach infested, and they were in my bed and they were on the walls, and it was like it was impossible because they like lived there, like under the floor, and then the other apartment was like flooded and stuff, so they like it got really bad, and like nobody cared, and I was like the only one living there for like years, and then other people moved in and stuff, and then more stuff happened, and it got better with people, and then like say the last couple months I was like roach free there basically almost. Finally, I think because of the people downstairs were better, and then everything got cleaned up probably down there. It was probably a mess for a while, but then yeah, it was roach infested from the day I got in, though. They were in the fridge, and my dad blamed me. That's what I'm telling you about conveying the actual image of this guy versus like the image he portrays to people. So this is what's always been like really hard for me because, and then it's not like I want to be like mean or even do it. It's like it has to be done because like I mean that's just the truth. Um, so I was living there for then you put the context of like me moving, right? And then I moved to this place which is finally nicer. But I begged him for so many years and he just like ignored and played games and like was really evil and he said no and like blah blah blah. And then like he comes like this year acting like all different and like I think because I told him so many times I was documenting this and blah 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 and he probably just played I don't even so then I can't even know if he was just playing to that or if he's being even authentic at all. And then it's really just confusing because of the way that yeah, you'd have to understand the way I had to be raised by this guy who also like threatened to kill me like many times, like seriously, and like did some crazy stuff at times. Uh, but was like typically very scary and like always like going around like mumbling to himself and like in an angry way, not in like a playful way or something. It was like very scary. So like always going around like that. Um, and then he'd come at you and like scream in your face, and you're like a little kid. And then like all this stuff with like taking the like breaking boundary lines all the time, taking the bedroom door off the hinges. So I don't even have a bedroom door, which was like my only place that felt like safe. Really, that was the only spot like I would hang out and to like stay away from them. And they'd always be like right outside the door. So then I developed this thing where I'd be scared to. It's weird, man. All the stuff going back. But then, yeah, so moving here, the context, it's like these years later, and my body is way more screwed up than it used to be. I had healed so many things, right? So I had a big improvement for a while, but because it was almost 10 years that I was stuck there, it was, yeah, more things happened and like things broke down, and I had to keep pushing myself with the running until I couldn't anymore, and I kind of hurt myself more by doing that, pushing myself more when I was stuck. When if I had been able to move again, that would have been another thing I would have avoided, pushing harder rather than I would just been here working on the music stuff while I could. Because I knew at that point, for a couple years, consistently, I would have fucking been able to do a whole album and do all the stuff that I had envisioned for a long time that my dad was like blocking. It's all contextually, you have to look. Then you look, once you go, I would lose it if I, see, that's the thing always. If once I think about deeper things, and how much stuff this guy's done to me, that's when it's like impossible. It's like I don't have that stuff at the surface of my head for protection, and I would go insane. Like the stuff's buried deeper, and that's why it's also harder to bring up at just any, like all of it at once. And if I did, I would, yeah, I would lose it. But it's part of it is protection. See, I understand the way that my mind is. I've had to think about this stuff for a long time and analyze it and try to process like all the stuff my dad did that like every time I put my trust in him for too many years, and then he screwed me over, and I would like beg this guy, and then he'd flip it on me. So it's like just all this like really psychological abuse, but then there was also the weird physical times when the guy just got like too angry, or I don't know what happened. Uh, and then yeah, and then sometimes he had like crazy eyes too, along with that behavior. Like I don't know. But anyway, so then if you think of like, yeah, this is why I wouldn't even put myself through this really, but like going back to the forced pills, which was like the first like yeah, I don't want to get myself into that headspace. Damn, dude, that's crazy. That's really hard. Even when I think like I'm at my calmest right now, trying to even navigate that, it's super, yeah, at least I can like avoid going into it right now. That's like, there's such pain that will never go away with those things. And then they never even acknowledge or address, like, because the things I went through, I should not have survived. That's 100 billion times, the highest extent possible percentage. 100%. I should not be alive. Many, 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 many times over. But I survived. And then I did everything in my power, and then I did everything right. Because I had done the things wrong in the past, and I'd gone to different substances, and I'd gone to escapism and all that stuff, and I learned from all these things, and I enhanced myself, and I developed myself, and I watched as my parents still betrayed me and treated me like crap and flipped things, and then I saw how all this stuff developed from the beginning, and how they were responsible for all these goddamn things, and how I was right, and all those feelings were correct. And it wasn't in my head or like things I needed medication for, it was abuse. And they just deny everything. It's like, no, actually, it was legitimately like you were abusing me. And like, I'd never say that in the past. I'd never even come to the conclusion of this, or even say like. And also, my parents would be like, "You don't even know what abuse is." Like, blah 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 blah. Blah. It's like, clearly, yeah, you guys were abused, and then you carried it on, but in different ways, in like more secretive ways that protected you. And then you used me. Like, my mom used me instead of getting her own abuse, because I witnessed that as a kid, and then they both tag teamed on me. Like, my mom just joined up with my dad. Garbage people, man. When actually they could have supported me and helped me like rise up. But they were like the biggest opposing force in my life. And then when you combine the amount of pain that came from the physical pain that I had as side effects from these various pills that I didn't even need, that they made me take. At just 15, 16 years old, and I could not sit down anymore. It was agony when I did, and then I had to sit down. I had to put my spine against the goddamn fucking seat for years and years in school in the metal chairs. And the amount of pain. I should have just dropped. I should have been able to drop out. My parents made me finish high school, and then they didn't allow me, they didn't even help me go to school. When actually, if I'd been able to get away to school or just anywhere, that would have saved my life early there and got me away from so much horrible stuff I was trying to escape in that house, being stuck there, while they told a different story to everybody and made it seem like I wanted to stay there. And in there, like, they were even telling me, my mom was like, "You can't stay here forever." It's like, I don't even want to be here. You're not helping me. I need help at this point because you guys poisoned me, basically. And then there was so much more worse stuff. When I found solutions or ways around the obstacles, at least I found ways around. And then all the other side effects. So, and then, yeah, you just keep going and going. It's like, for one, and then all the times that I was like close to like ending things, and all the time I spent, like all those, there's so many years, and then they don't think about anything but themselves, and how if it's like I'm an object in their life that they can utilize for something, they can use for something, and if not, it's just like discard. But then come back and then pretend and then be like, "Oh, well, you think I forget all the things you said? You certainly forget most of it to even pretend this way. This is craziness." That's what I feel. Like, every time I have to interact with my mother or my father, I'm like, do you guys forget everything at this point? Like, my memory is so good. It's so sharp. And then you guys are like, you're insulting me so every damn time. You guys aren't profusely apologizing. You're not even accepting that you've done anything wrong. You don't even think you've done anything wrong. How would I possibly begin to start over like that? That's what but my dad just jumps to that, and then he's like, "Well, that's sad." And then he goes away. Like, it's like a little kid. And then it's like, because he did this for so long, I'm like old at this point, and he's like super old. And then you have to put age into the equation, even, because the dude's 70. What, 71 now? And I'm going to be 40 on the 30th, which is insane. That's the benchmark. 40. That doesn't even sound real. It's crazy. 40 years old. Then it's like all the money. You complained. He complained all the time. And I don't even have anything now. And then he has all this money. And then he can pretend like I'm this like bad guy and blame things on me with money. Meanwhile, he still has the money. And he gave me little scraps instead of like what he actually owed me. If you actually, oh my God, I can't even be given any of the stuff back that was stolen. That was innately, that was supposed to be mine to begin with. Like even the sexual stuff, that's like crazy. You're removing like a vital and natural part of being a male developing. They took that away completely. So like I had like a numb penis entirely for like years, and then it developed like a penile disorder thing where it was just completely like numb basically. And then when I did have sex, it's like I had to like go so incredibly hard. I don't even know what can be talked about on here. I guess that would only apply to sponsors mostly. I don't know. Cause I can talk about anything. But yeah, like even when yeah, like many years off of it was still screwed up. And like, and then that's just one goddamn thing. And then that's like taking away like the release. That's a very natural and really like important thing. Like screws up like development, like being around different girls and stuff, and like what would have happened, and like all throughout 20s, 30s, like this disorder thing lasted where I didn't have this. Like I know what it felt like before. You dummies. Like it didn't just it didn't just spontaneously happen because the pills. It didn't just happen. It was because of the damn pills, because that's a normal side effect of those things. And then especially when you combine high doses and you make me take it for years and years, and doses that you're not even supposed to take combined with other ones at the same time. They're like experimenting on me. It's like, what the hell you think is gonna happen? And then I get nothing. I had to pay for all this stuff. I had to pay. I had to pay. I knew better from the beginning. I knew instinctively. I didn't want. It was like they raped me when they made me take the first one. That wasn't even one of those pills. That was for acne, and it caused suicidal ideation. Like this was normal. This was well known, and other things, other horrible things too. And then I had to go and like talk to other people and get to know people that went through like hell. And then I got nothing. I got no apologies. I got blamed for things. My parents were fucking horrible to me. It's like these people, they did all these things through these weird ways, like pills and like, yeah, just like all through like doctors and making me go to all this stuff when and saying things were like this, but it wasn't that. It was that. And then it was actually, no, it was this. Like, it's crazy to think about. Like, and then like knowing and then working so hard to get around these things and like all the different things that they created, working really, really hard. Like I worked so damn hard, and then nobody even sees it or gives any credit. Like, there's no way I should be alive so many times, but like I am. So then, but then there's still no, like, it's crazy. No one ever recognizes or anything. Hmm. What else? Yeah, I didn't really want to get into like anything too negative or anything. At least I was able to like keep it together while I was talking about these things, so it didn't feel too bad. Didn't really feel bad or anything. I'm just thinking if I want to add anything. Is anybody there right now? I guess not. That's the thing with my chat. I don't even get like, it's so weird, man. I used to have a bunch of people in the chat that may have been bots. I have no idea. But it's just kind of nutty once you put like, there's so much context I have to leave out every time I speak, right? Because yeah, it's protection. I would lose my shit if I thought of it all. See, that's some BS, dude. What if that was doing that for like 15 minutes? I'll be pissed off. Like, how could that be? I was inside, unable to connect to the internet. That's how BS that is. BS. No, babe. You're still on? How are you guys still on TV?
Tea, we got some tea. We got some tea. Oh, hey, you gotta go back and find that on his doing podcast. It was like his third or fourth episode. Oh, I'm flipping that tonight. Somebody time. Yeah, his dog is crazy. Oh, you're talking about he nice. That's wow. I see the title.
Hey, what's up?
Hey guys, give me 3 minutes. I gotta take care of my wife. We just had surgery. I'll be right back.
Do I still have audio? Because I didn't have audio and it was unable to connect. I don't think if it's, yeah, I guess it's still fucking fucked up. What is up with my hair now? I just took it out of the goddamn thing. That's why it's curly. That's all screwed up. Of course, like the one time. I'm always like thinking like, damn, that actually looks really good. And when you have like, you're like losing the hair more, and it's like, man, that hair looks like so healthy and good. But then, and then usually it's in a good hairstyle too. It's not like curly like this at the ends. Like, I don't know what's going on where it's too curly. Usually it's like perfect. But of course, only just for the camera it gets all screwed up again. I had it in my bun too long, I guess, or whatever the fuck. Yeah, it doesn't matter. None of this matters. This is just play since I'm already here. And then actually get some playing in because I haven't played, so I don't want to play anything. That's the thing. I'll just do a little improv session. If I can. I don't know if you can see or hear though. man, I could have kept going for. I'm just concerned that I don't even know if this stuff is recording or what's going on. So it's like saying it's like not connecting to internet, and it's like, man, I actually kind of feel that a bit. I just want to do it with 5-10 minutes. If I can do it without even, if the stream doesn't bother me, maybe. All right, let's get this. Hold up a second. All right, you. Why is it so dark on there? This is a problem also. It's got, yeah. God damn it! I gotta sew this back. I got to do it. I gotta get closer to the guitar, but I can't hit my stuff, my junk, against the couch. And that hurts. Anything touching it hurts, and that's how it screwed up everything, you know? And it's just one part of things. Nobody knows. But anyway. I don't know how it can be this like. I was thinking of like some cool riff. Yeah, there we go. God damn it, that hurts though. See, shit. I shouldn't have. I need some. Like that. This was like a hole. This is crazy. If I had like even just this couch, I could have used this as a stand. I don't fucking use my stand. Ah. Dude, I could definitely write a song right now. If I put, not that, but like there's some parts to that that could use to me. That'd be a jam. There'd be something in this. How many times? If I could get my brain back to the way it used to run before the goddamn nerve pain medication. This is all this stuff contextually matters too. That's another thing. Like I only resorted to that in the very last of it, and it's still not opioids or anything. I didn't do any of that. That is just specifically nerve pain medication, but it had a side effect for me, which for like my brain slowing thing, and then also like blocks the and taste. Took my taste. What the hell? You know some stuff's wrong. Taking, yeah. I didn't even want to ever go take any goddamn pills, and I had to do that for the pain was so bad with my junk stuff. I won't get into the details. It's all this crap that they did. It all goes back to the root of what they did, and that's what's so screwed up. And then it just goes on and on. They like never admit anything. They just keep like screwing me up. They like put me in circles, blame me financially. Don't do the things I say. Find to that would actually work to help, and would have cost much less. Would have just helped me like immediately. Would have saved. Yeah, like every day I came up with like a new thing, and then he put me in a worse situation. I'd find my way out of that. I'd find a new solutions. And he wouldn't do anything. He wouldn't try anything that I said, but it would have worked. I knew, because then I knew, once I proved the things that I did out of my own volition and my gut, that proved that worked enough times, and I was like, are you, okay, that's it. No more of this. Because like I proved every time when I was following my own stuff, the things that actually worked. And then it was like, okay, dude, you're abusing, you're not listening to anything I say every day. And then years and years went by, and I didn't show any of that stuff. That's the stuff that people would have been like, what the hell? Except the only part is I would get so goddamn angry because by then I already knew, and that was already, it's like years and years. It's, you have to understand, because I'm almost, yeah, I'll be 40 May 30th, so that's why. Things incredibly complicated, and it goes back so too long. Guy just like got away with it. Now he's just old, doesn't care, and he forgets. And then he's like, "Let's start a new list. We love you." I was like, what are you talking about? This is insanity. You guys, you don't remember anything that you've done to me. You don't care. They did the same thing back then, though. They would never acknowledge anyway. So like, it's always been denial of everything from them. And then, yeah, I'm the only one who took responsibilities for things, like actually owned up to it. I never did anything near as bad as anything they did. I didn't even like hurt anybody or anything like that. Like, most I did, I'd say, is like damage in relationships, like not being good enough in relationships, and like hurting people emotionally because I wasn't able to be like a good enough boyfriend, I'd say, because I was like consumed with all my own stuff and in too much pain and everything, and I was like suicidal even for many years, and yeah, I couldn't be a very good boyfriend. Too hard to deal with all the different pains and stuff I get. Um, so there's a bunch of things that I can always acknowledge things that I do, and then it makes me improve myself, and it is what it is. Like then you compare and contrast to my parents, it's a totally different thing. That's why it all lines up, and you can prove everything. And it's just been really difficult for me because like I'm the one who's just been living it by myself, alone in it forever. separated from when times I'm separated from it. Never mind. That's good enough to talk about that. I don't want to end up like hurting myself going back into it. This times I talked about it today, it's been okay. Like managed it. But like that's what I have. Yeah, I did add up bits of the context, I suppose, throughout this. So there is context that there is more details that are important to the context that you, for anyone that was new to you, and then you could see what I'm talking about when you have to add up the Oh, but there's so much more. I can only say so much, and like that already is like borderline. I'm good on amount of expressing this stuff, and documenting and talking about it. It's emotionally tough, but also like necessary. So, and then I can tell obviously the times when it's like hurting me more or not. But yeah, anyway, so I'll just cut it there. This time for real. Unless I pause it, I guess nobody's there anyway, right? It would be a little bit better if there was some more interaction the times when Dude, they're still on. I should just chill here now. They're gonna be off.
It's not fucking funny. Yeah. I try hard not to laugh. I'll say this: the reason why I picked the song, I think, today was that the ginger dude was a little rough. But
Yeah, it's really hard with the
I don't know.
fucking
I thought about
and not playing guitar. Also, when I waited and survived for like these things, and then my dad, the display of it, and then people don't like they never add, any context. They don't even look at any underlying context. Like, what is this person having to feel physically when doing thing or anything? Like, why? What happened? Why would there be anger? Why this, that? There's plenty that I didn't even get to talk about that makes it so much worse still. And that's the thing, again, it's an incredibly difficult thing because it's of my memory too. My memory is just, it's one of those things. I remember a lot of things like verbatim. Like if I type something or I write it down, I remember the whole thing like verbatim. In my head, it'll like replay. And a lot of things with music and stuff will do that too. Where it was like meant for these. That's why. I always knew. Still, and then you have to add up even contextually how I was raised, and then how the things that were told to me, and then, man, yeah, whatever. I won't get into it. I'm out. Peace and love to whoever I don't know if there's even anyone that listens to these anymore or whatever, but God bless you, and I send you some love.